Scholesy,
Where'd you put your first? Sorry.
Scholesy, what is realistic this season for Man? What's a successful season for the manager this season?
I was just going to ask Adam the same thing. It's a tricky one, isn't it? From being so bad last year. Now look, seasons can change. We see, as you mentioned before, your season Forest has. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to take 5 to 10 years to get back where you want to be. I still think there's issues, although it's looking better. I still think that there are issues with the team. As we mentioned, the midfield. We don't want to go through it again. Top 6.
We'll get back to Scholesy in just a quick second, but remember, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. And don't forget to click the notification button so that you know when the next Big D video hits. And as ever, if something is on your mind, if something is bubbling up inside of you that you need to express, please express it in the comments. The Big D reads all of the comments, and he's always interested in what is on your mind. Anyway, in this clip, we've got a lot to unpack. Yeah, Scholesy, Adam McCullough, Jamie Carragher, they're going to be breaking down Manchester United a little bit, what they need to do to improve next season, where they're going to finish, and, you know, what's going to happen with players like Kobbie Mainoo and Alejandro Garnacho. And it's quite an interesting clip, and also, there is a lot to unpack. But stick around for after the clip, because the Big D is going to start by unpacking this suitcase that is Manchester United. Here's Scholesy.
Some of his performances when
What about the new lad, Adam? What was he like, the new left back?
Diego Leon.
Yeah.
He's very raw, very young, but again, he has some potential there and some ability, and I think he's suited to that role. I think Kobbie Mainoo looks different. He's obviously bulked up a little bit. He looks like he's on that Leon Goretzka
I thought he looked fitter.
Yeah, he looks a bit fit. And the manager spoke about...
to be fair, Adam, I think they all looked a little bit fitter. I think it was like a rule that he had to come back in a certain condition by the looks of all of them. Yeah.
And the manager spoke about him. He said he thinks he's hugely talented and he's got massive potential and stuff, but he mentioned him kind of walking through games at times. And I think he wants to demand that physical...
I think that's his demeanour. That's
he's too good.
He just looks like that, doesn't he? I think we spoke last year about what they probably lack in the midfield there is that controlling midfield player, and I thought that was going to be him. It seems like it's a little bit confused now. Can he be that midfielder?
Fernandes?
Yeah, no, sorry, Kobbie Mainoo. Can he be that midfielder who can play in a 2? But he'll obviously need a lot of legs. Or is he now one of the 10s? I'm just confused about
Where will Bruno Fernandes play?
I think part of the front 3. I think depending on what happens with our striker situation, I think you look at the market and it's ridiculous at the moment. I mean, I don't fancy any of the strikers that are kind of out there. I mean, when you look at the price tags and the likes of Sesko, it's like, what has he done to justify 80, 90 million pounds? Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous. But I think I wouldn't be surprised to either see and then Mbeumo go through the middle, or Mbeumo, or whatever you want to call him, and then Bruno maybe become part of that front 3. Or even, do you remember in the Cup, I know it was under Ten Hag, but in the Cup final we played Bruno kind of like a false 9. And that worked. I wouldn't be surprised to see that.
Because he's your best player, he almost, it was a little bit like Steven Gerrard with us, where you want him in every position, you know, but because what Scholes saying United lack in terms of a controller in midfield, he's not that, but he can handle the ball better than your central midfield, and then you still want him in that position as well. But just thinking, because you've obviously bought those 2 players for those attacking number 10 positions, haven't you? Sort of, you know, cutting inside on sort of Cunha on the sort of the left and Mbeumo on the right. But even though he is your best player, I almost think, I'm not quite sure the system suits him. He's not amazing. You don't really want him centre midfield, and it's probably more suited between the lines, but he runs all over the place, doesn't he? Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You'd think in an ideal world, he's perfect for one of these 2 10s that he plays, but because he doesn't have discipline to play in that position, he's everywhere. But it's because he's needed everywhere. Maybe if you sign a better midfield player, or Kobbie Mainoo sits back into that midfield role and starts to dictate, then it might become a bit easier. He won't have to be the here, there and everywhere. Jamie's right. He has to do everything because I don't think there's the quality around him.
Yeah, I think that comes from frustration from him as well. Obviously, he wears his heart on his sleeve sometimes. It gets the better of him, I think, at times. But I do think that's more necessity rather than him being ill-disciplined, because I think tactically he works quite well with managers. I, though, kind of had the feeling United probably wouldn't have minded him accepting the move to Saudi, you know. it did kind of feel like, I don't think they were going to force him out of the club. I think he's the club captain, and I think he's a fantastic player. And I'm personally happy that he stayed. But I wouldn't have been surprised if United were kind of going...
Imagine if they didn't have him now, though.
Yeah, I know.
Was it 100 mil he got offered?
Well, I don't think an offer ever got made because he didn't seem keen on really leaving, but I think it probably could have.
I think you're right, Adam. What you said right at the very start, there's still big gaps. It feels promising with the two forwards. They look excited, and Højlund's not going to play, is he? If them three...
He didn't start him in the last...
No, that's what I mean. The three of them, they look quite good together. I'm not sure how that will work. I still think they'll be all over the place a little bit, but there's still gaps in the team.
That midfield's the big one for me, because I'm not sure about...
Legs and quality and control, definitely. I think the goalkeeper, we mentioned the goalkeeper. Goalkeepers are massive. I think United, we were talking about before about goalkeeper Schmeichel. It took us ages to replace him. Van der Sar was like 5 or 6 years down the line, I think. Look, whether they're just going to hope for one reason or another that he comes good, I don't know. But
it's mad to think Tom Heaton's our best keeper.
Can't do anything defensively. Tommy, no.
He's our best keeper. It's mad to
because
think
they've already got 5 or 6 centre-halves on big contracts. So there's
why did he go? I don't know why United went for Onana when they were conceding. They're going to concede so many chances. Like they've gone for like a ball-playing goal. I didn't get.
Well, we bought him as a ball-playing goalkeeper. Then we decided to get him like lobbing the ball.
He's not actually.
Would have been better off.
He's not actually been that great on the ball, though, has he?
Genuinely better. You'd have been. Yeah, the amount of.
No, we wouldn't have been. Mate,
times he messes up.
You were at the cup final. You saw what De Gea did.
He won Golden Glove that year.
Mate, he chucked it in a cup final. You can't be...
Ads, do you think enough's been done to sort of transform what we saw throughout the entire season last year to transform into what's good for United next year?
I don't think you can do that in one window, Flav. I think they've started with the forward area. The pitch was the biggest problem. They couldn't create chances. They couldn't score goals.
Yeah. But I think like, if he doesn't get it right so early on, then Amarin's potentially in trouble.
I think he's going to be given a lot of time.
Yeah,
I do as well. I get that feeling that he's under no pressure,
14th,
really.
Is there 14th, 13th?
Is one of the reasons why... Shut up. You not so much giving him time from the ball, but the fans, there's something about Amarin when he speaks, the way he looks, the way he comes across, it makes you believe, when you see him interviewed, I think he's
mustard, man.
Yeah, exactly. So you like him because he comes... But the results have been awful. Awful. And
I think we kind of understand that. And look, they should have been better than they were. They should have been better than they were. But we kind of understand the situation he got the job in. And I also think Ratcliffe and everyone behind him was probably like expecting it as well. Not as bad as it was. We should have been higher up the table in the top 10 for sure. And we should have been better in the European final. But he has been dealing with things like, you look at Garnacho, look, I'm really disappointed with the situation. Someone that scores an FA Youth Cup final, scores an FA Cup final, comes through the academy, and he just turns into this little knobhead. And it's like, what's going on? Like, do you know what I mean? You can't have those in the dressing room. You can't have that in the dressing room. And I think we were impacted by time wasters in the dressing room. And I think it's a lot easier for the manager to get his message across now to a dressing room full of players that actually want to be there, whether we want them there or not. A dressing room full of players there. And we've got one game a week. I know we'd rather be in the Champions League, we'd rather have beat Spurs. But I think one game a week's important as well, because we're kind of talking about City's pre-season going into the season. Now, the demands aren't on us to win the league, and I think the manager will be using those early few weeks as time to get his message across again. And he showed last season when he had a week or 10 days to train the players and coach the players for a game. We did well. I think we beat City. We went and got a good result at the Emirates in the Cup. So I think we smashed Arsenal first game of the season.
Where do you think you'll finish?
Scholesy.
Where do you think you'll finish? Sorry.
Scholesy, what is realistic this season? What's a successful season for the manager this season?
I was just going to ask Adam the same thing. It's a tricky one, isn't it? From being so bad last year. Now look, seasons can change. We see, as you mentioned before, your season Forest has. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to take 5 to 10 years to get back where you want to be. I still think there's issues, although it's looking better, I still think that there are issues with the team. As we mentioned, the midfield, we don't want to go through it again. Top 6? I think top 6 would be more than acceptable at this. But as much as you don't want to say that, because I always think man should have the very best, should aim for the very best, should aim for the highest. I'm just not sure. I think there's too many good teams now. I think your Liverpools, your Cities, your Chelseas are on the up. Arsenal, I didn't even mention Aston Villa's, Newcastle's. I think there's a lot of competition now to get in that top 6, and 6.
I think United are more than capable of challenging, not probably Champions League positions, but no chance, but in terms of being around.
What you want to do is
Europa
get
League.
close to them by February, March, and then because you never know, someone might have a bad season. You've seen teams kind of drop in and out. But I think the main thing for us is to actually feel like we're progressing and feel like the team's getting better. Because there's been times in the past where we have...
We all have to
top
finish
4.
14th and not when we...
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm on about on the pitch. Show me something on
Of
the
course,
pitch. I
yeah,
want
I
to see
know.
this team developing and getting
Yeah.
better. And so then we can go, yeah, actually, if you add those 2 or 3 players into it, they will get top 4. They will be able to challenge for the league. So I think progression on the pitch and the way we're playing and the way it feels, I think, is more important. Because there's been times where we've got top 4, but it's felt crap. And we've known it's felt like that, and it's not really felt like a top 4. So I think
There's a lot of
seeing us
very
progress-
good players there. Last season was unacceptable, really, wasn't it? But I felt like there was an acceptance to it. With the last 3 months here, we're just going to get beat. And nobody seems that bothered about it. Now that obviously can't start the season with that attitude. There's got to be more pressure. I mean, of course there is, but like he says, I think he will get time, and I think he started. When you try and rebuild teams, I think most start from the back going forward, don't they? I think we've started from the front because that was obviously the biggest issue. We've got a defence and a goalkeeper that might concede goals, and if we can't score a goal at the other end, we've got no chance. So it gives more chance of winning games.
I think that first game of the season, it almost feels like going into the season in terms of managers, there's going to be a lot of pressure and eyes on Amarin because it didn't go particularly well last season, but also Arteta for different reasons. That, okay, it's almost he's got to win something. I just feel that first game for both managers. I know it's one game.
Yeah,
it's the first
Gyökeres
game.
against Amarim and all
No,
like
but
the storylines that are
it'll
there
be on
as well.
Sky. We'll build it up, and I think for someone to lose that game will be a real big blow for them. You know,
I said it since the fixture list come out. We beat them.
Adam, one team you didn't beat from North London at the end of last season was Spurs. So Flav.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's some interesting sort of points being made there. Yeah, I mean, the situation with the striker and who's going to be playing up front, I have actually sort of brought this up in some of my streams and some of my other videos as well. It's like we've got so many players now in that forward line. It's absolutely insane. And I have heard today that Manchester United are now open to offers for Rasmus Højlund, despite Rasmus Højlund making it perfectly clear that he wants to stay at Manchester United and fight for his place, even though we've just, well, basically bought Benjamin Sesko. But United value Rasmus Højlund at 30 million, and if they get a good offer from somewhere, there is a chance that the management, whether that be Ratcliffe, Barada or Wilcox or even Amarim, might pull Rasmus Højlund to one side and might just quietly say to him, it's probably best if you find a new club. I personally can't see that happening, not with Rasmus. Because there's nothing wrong with having a couple of players fighting it out for that number 9 position. But they do make an interesting point. Who are you going to play? Because they've just paid 60-odd million for Cunha. They've paid 60-odd million for Mbeumo. They've still got Bruno Fernandes. So who's playing where? Unless they're going to be putting Mbeumo up front. And they're going to sort of phase Benjamin Sesko into the team. It's going to be interesting because, yeah, okay, we've got Rasmus Højlund, but what about Joshua Zirkzee as well? Where do they see him playing? I mean, is he going to be a hybrid? Sometimes he's going to play number 9, sometimes he's going to play number 10. And, well, if he's going to be playing number 10, what's Mason Mount going to be thinking about that as well? And, you know, they've obviously got Amad Diallo that could potentially play number 10 as well. Although it might be that he's playing wing back now. It's all a bit chaotic. And we're not truly going to know what his front line is, or we're not going to have an idea of what Ruben Amorim's front line is going to be until the Arsenal game next week. I really don't want to see Rasmus Højlund leave. I still do think there's a player there, and they do make a point. Scholes does make a good point about Rasmus Højlund and Man United strikers. This might have been in another clip, but I've heard Scholes say that when you come to Manchester United, you need to be the finished article. Or at the very least, you need to be working under the finished article so that you can become the finished article. And that Man United need a number 9 good to go. But I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen there? But when they were talking about Bruno Fernandes' position, yeah, I'm a little bit worried about the situation with Bruno. Worried's a strong word. I wouldn't necessarily say I was worried. I don't necessarily lose any sleep over this this entertainment juggernaut that is Manchester United, or so-called entertainment anyway. But I'd like to see Bruno Fernandes play as number 10. I don't like seeing him in the number 8 position. I just don't like it. And I don't want to see him do his Steven Gerrard, Royal Rovers routine where he's trying to do everyone's job and he's doing box-to-box and all of that. I just want to see him stay in the final third. That's it. Just stay there, hover about there, conserve your energy and save it all for that killer pass or that long-range effort and make a difference in a match. It's not complicated. You play your best players in their best positions, and that's that. Now, we've got no excuses now. Ruben Amorim hasn't got any excuses. Even if we did keep Onana, that team should skyrocket up that table. But then again, that being said, first couple of mistakes by Onana, you know, the confidence in that team is just going to be sucked away. Yeah, we still need a goalkeeper, and I do agree with what Paul Scholes says there. I mean, in the sense that there are some gaps in the team, and it is midfield, and it is at goalkeeper. I think the defence is fine, and I think the wing backs are fine for now. But if Kobbie Mainoo is all of a sudden jacked, and he looks like Wesley Snipes from Blade, then there's no reason why he can't transform into that central midfielder that Manchester United need. That high-intensity, skillful, decisive central midfielder. He could be the second coming of Paul Ince. And I'd really like to see Kobbie Mainoo really sort of break through now, because he's kind of shown flashes of brilliance. And he was brilliant a couple of seasons ago, but then obviously got his injuries in that last season. And he just couldn't quite replicate what he did the season before because of his injuries, and obviously because of the chaos of the management change and all of that nonsense. So hopefully now, you know, the team is a lot more settled, and hopefully now he's got a good level of fitness so that he can hit the ground running come the Arsenal game next week. And if Kobbie Mainoo can hit the ground running, I don't necessarily think central midfield is going to be too much of an issue. It all hinges on whether or not Kobbie Mainoo is going to be ready. Now, if he's not, then we probably need some reinforcements in there. But we definitely do need a new goalkeeper, because one stupid mistake, and let's be honest, the Onana mistakes, they are stupid mistakes. It's not like, oh, I can't believe that happened. No, it's how did that happen? How did that go in the net? So we definitely need the goalkeeper situation sorted, because Alex Ferguson famously said defences, which obviously goalkeepers are a part of, attackers win you games, defences win you titles. So if we're ever going to be competing for the higher positions in the league, we need a solid defence. I mean, we don't need the next Peter Schmeichel or Edwin van der Sar, but we just need someone in there consistent. And I don't know what Adam McCullough was going on about with David De Gea with that Man City Cup final. He didn't make any mistakes in that Cup final. Man City scored 2 amazing goals. So I don't know. Sometimes I feel as though people, including Man United fans, in the case of Adam McCullough there, no offence to Adam, I quite like Adam. This is not necessarily a criticism to Adam personally, but his opinion is a bit strange there. And I just feel as though some people have De Gea derangement syndrome. Hey, maybe people can say that about me, but in a positive sense, because all I remember is his amazing saves against against Suarez and Arsenal and against Everton and, saving the job of Louis van Gaal and various other managers over the years. He's been absolutely fantastic, David De Gea. And I agree with that little Man City fan there. We would have been better off with David De Gea. In fact, Erik ten Hag might still be the manager if we'd had David De Gea. But alas, he's not there, and now we need a goalkeeper, and who's he going to be? Is he going to be the young kid from Antwerp? Is he going to be Emiliano Martinez, or is it going to be Gianluigi Donnarumma? Who knows? Who knows? I think there's 20 days left in the transfer window, so we shall soon see. Realistic season? Like, Paul Scholes has said, you might need 3 or 4 windows. You don't need 3 or 4 windows. The way things have gone, now that we've got Sesko, and if we get a goalkeeper and a central midfielder, there's not much more we need after that, other than maybe an upgrade here or there. But if you've got the money, which Man United clearly have, despite Sir Jim Ratcliffe pleading poverty a few months back, if you've got the money, you can buy the players that you need for the following season, no problem, so long as they are available. And we've gone out and we've made some really, really good signings. Cunha and Mbeumo, Sesko. I mean, Cunha and Mbeumo will carry Sesko, so if he needs a bedding in season, they'll be able to carry him, to be fair. And then we've still got Bruno and Ugarte is a decent player, and we've still got Casemiro. There's nothing wrong with Casemiro. I mean, he's not the Casemiro of old, and he's not going to be the new Roy Keane or anything like that, but he's still valuable to the squad. He can play a Carrick role or a Giggs role in that they can drop him in sporadically, and you get the benefit of his experience, especially around the training ground as well. And obviously we've got De Ligt. He's a class player, class act. I really like De Ligt. So there's no reason why we can't finish top 4 next season. No reason at all. If everyone plays to their potential and they all put the effort in, that team finishes top 4. No problem. Finishes higher than Chelsea. Absolutely. Maybe even higher than Arsenal. Can't see us finishing higher than City or Liverpool. I'm not daring to sort of believe that at this point. But there's no reason why we can't have a really, really, really good season. And yeah, it doesn't take 5 to 10 years. Not really. Not if you've got the right people in charge. And we do have a footballing project in place now. And they all seem to be working together, supporting each other. And they seem to be putting a lot of thought into the players that we are going out and buying. So I think it's looking positive. And I fancy us against the Arsenal next week. And remember, the Big D's doing a live watch along, so click the notification button so that you know when it starts. Anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think the Big D's deluded? Do you think we can finish top 4 this season? And what do you think? Do we need a new midfielder? Or is Kobbie enough? Thoughts in the comments, and the Big D will see you in